Alrighty guys, good afternoon to you all here on YouTube. Appreciate y'all for watching this. Once again, my apologies here as well for not getting this video out here until this afternoon. Like I said, I just got back from my race this morning here this afternoon. So we are here. We're going to do this video for you guys, and we're going to have a live stream later on this afternoon. I will let you guys know here on YouTube, we will be having 3 live streams a day starting tomorrow, mid-morning, and then afternoon, and then evening streams. I'll also, if you are not in my Discord channel, message me. You guys should be able to see the link for my Discord on my profile or in my bio. If you guys want to hop in there, we'll be doing a lot of stuff interactive-wise in there. I'll be hopping in calls with you guys, hanging out with you guys in there as well. So if you're not a part of that Discord, definitely go do that. Other than that, we got a lot to talk about here this afternoon. We got a tropical system that'll be moving its way through the Atlantic Ocean over this week and into next week. It's going to be just like the same situation with Hurricane Aaron, where we've got to watch it for a long period of time before we start to get worried about it. The models do have some interesting outputs. The ensembles have some interesting outputs. So we're going to walk through all that. We're going to talk a little bit of severe weather, and then we're going to talk with that cold air coming down there out of Canada as we go towards the end of this week, some of the coldest air since the beginning of the year, as well as the threat for severe weather potentially ramping up, and maybe even a tropical storm or a hurricane making landfall in Baja, California this week as well. So we're going to break all that down for you guys here in this video. If you guys have not, as always, do subscribe if you are new to the channel. I do appreciate you guys. As always, click that little notification and that bell icon down at the bottom, and always be here. You guys will always be in the right position to get reliable weather information. If you guys also don't know, here on YouTube, I am going back to school starting in January to get my official meteorology degree finished. So super exciting news on that as well. But other than that, let's go ahead and break down this forecast here and talk about what's going to be happening. And you guys can see on your screen here this afternoon, not a lot going on. We do have some upper level clouds here ongoing here into portions of the central plains here, just a little upper level low. This is actually going to bring some moisture into the Ohio River Valley as we go towards tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're also going to have as well here a little bit of some subtropical moisture moving down here into portions of the Florida area. You can see just a lot of thunderstorms out there going across the Gulf, going down here into portions of the eastern side of Florida. There's actually a little low-level center that's developing here, or a low-pressure center that's developing here off the eastern side of Florida, and some of the ensembles were kind of hinting at maybe a weak tropical depression over the next couple days as this moves its way off towards the east, away from the United States, but we're not probably going to see that happening. The National Hurricane Center doesn't even have anything highlighted on that, so that's always something good to see, is that low will move its way off to the northeast. We'll continue to see the showers and the thunderstorms across the southern portions of Florida through the next day or two, and then we'll start to work our way as we go towards next week with another system moving in potentially. So other than that, a pretty quiet United States, not a lot going on here. We'll keep you guys updated with that as always. And also, here is our tropical wave. This is what we're going to be talking about a lot over the next week or two. We've got our main tropical wave here. This is what the National Hurricane Center has highlighted. We'll talk about what that looks like here in a minute. Looking at our tropical wave here this afternoon, and not really impressive looking. Just some convection ongoing, some thunderstorms here, not anything organized, not anything developing right now. And the further that this tracks west and the longer it takes for this system to develop, the more west it's going to go and the more south it potentially goes. Remember, a stronger system typically gets pulled to the north more. A weaker system can track west further, but it's also going to be moving pretty slow as well. So something we're going to have to watch. We'll keep you guys updated daily on this. There's also another little tropical wave that's coming off behind this. I'm not super concerned about this. We're going to watch it and see what happens. But that main wave in front of it is what we're really going to be watching for in terms of the next week or two. Now, as I mentioned, this is the National Hurricane Center's latest update. They have increased the odds of our tropical wave to 50% chance in the next 7 days, meaning we could get a tropical storm. Next name on the list is going to be Gabrielle. Potentially a 50% chance here. I do think that this number will continue to increase as we go through the next couple of days. We will more than likely have a tropical depression or storm by the end of this week. So something to make note of. And by the time we get toward the end of this week, it's still going to be sitting out here in the central Atlantic. It's going to be just like Aaron, where we're watching, like I said, for 10 to 14 days. And, you know, where does it go once it gets to Saturday and Sunday? Where are we watching this thing go? Does it go west? Does it go west-northwest? Does it go northeast? Does it go out to sea? GFS ensembles think it's going to go out to sea. Mostly all of them in agreement on that. Just a widespread on where and how far north and west it's going to go. And then the European ensemble is completely different. They want this thing to make land, or to hit land somewhere. At least most of them do as of right now. And we'll see those updated versions of that later on this afternoon in the live stream. So, something we're watching. I also wouldn't be shocked to see potentially a small little yellow lemon be introduced here this afternoon or tomorrow for that low pressure system off the coast of Florida. I don't think it's going to be much of an issue, so I wouldn't be too worried other than just some rainfall and some wind out there. And then we may get something going towards next week here down in the Caribbean / east of the Yucatan. Some of the ensembles are hinting as well as the potential for maybe a system maybe as we go towards the second week. But other than that, we'll keep you guys updated on the latest on that. Here are the latest GFS ensembles here for this afternoon. You guys can see most of the ensembles are very widespread, and when you see model ensembles that are spread out this far, there's so much uncertainty on where this is going to go, and that's even in the short-term future. You can see our tropical wave currently right now kind of sits just south of the Cape Verde Islands. It could go as far south as here or as far north as here over the next 3 to 5 days. We have a lot of watching, and even once we get past that 5-day range, does it go west? Does it go northwest? Does it go northeast? Guys, there are so many questions with this, and I wish I could answer them, but we're just going to have to play the waiting game just like we did with Hurricane Aaron. That's how the tropics work. It's hurricane season. Welcome to hurricane season. So also we're going to be watching maybe for the potential for some type of system as we go towards the second week of September, a little far out for that system, but the ensembles have definitely been hinting at that over the last couple of days. And then we get to the European ensembles, and look at, again, the GFS ensembles mostly take this out to see if not all the ensembles do. And then you have the European, which concerns me a lot more because they are more compact. The ensembles are more tight. They agree a little bit more, meaning that, not saying the GFS isn't wrong or isn't right, but right now we would be kind of trending more with the euro. We're going to watch trends and see if the euro bounces back to the GFS or if the GFS bounces to the euro. But pretty good broad area movement here. Some of the models even going as far south down here as the southern Leeward Islands. But if you're in Puerto Rico, the Leeward Islands, anywhere here along the southern portions of the Atlantic, you need to be watching this system because this could be an issue as we go towards the end of this week and into next week, where we even could see maybe some landfalls potentially on the table. The United States also not off the table, guys. This is not like Aaron where we knew a recurve was more than likely on the table a couple days out in advance, but this is going to be a little bit different. We do think the recurve is definitely a higher probability right now until we see something that changes differently, but we do have a pretty good amount of ensemble spread that wants to take this further west compared to the northern mode there. But like I said, all options are on the table. We're not ruling out anything right now because we just don't know the answers to that. So we'll keep you guys updated on that here as always. Stay tuned to the channel. We'll have updates every day and we'll have live streams every day going forward as well. But here's also, we'll move to the severe weather conversation here. We'll get back to the tropics here in just a moment. We do have a little severe weather threat today. This is going to be a wind and hail driven risk, less than 2% total risk, but not zero. Wind threats at 5% and hail threat at 5%. This will be for southern Kansas from Wichita down towards Liberal and even into Woodward and just to the west of OKC. So not anything super crazy today. Light green is for general thunderstorms. And then when we get to tomorrow, we'll have light green and general thunderstorms for portions of the Ohio Valley down to the Arkansas, down toward the Arklatex, back over into the west over here near monsoon season ongoing as we watch that tropical system move its way up north as we go toward the end of this week. And a marginal risk tomorrow as well for portions of west central Minnesota, eastern portions of South Dakota, and southern portions of North Dakota, where a wind and a hail threat and maybe a brief isolated tornado is on the table for tomorrow. Not expecting anything too crazy with that. And then another little marginal risk for the day 3 outlook from eastern and southern Kansas all the way back down to western and central Missouri, where we see that once again the threat for wind and hail and maybe a brief weak spin up tornado. So besides that, not a lot of severe weather, just these little spurts of severe weather. But as we go into next week, we may start to see severe weather ramp up, and we'll talk about that here in just a moment. We're going to talk about that right now, actually. As we talk about our troughing here, we're going to just kind of make some notes on what's going to be happening over the next week or two here as we go into the month of September. And right now, we got some good old-fashioned northwesterly flow here, keeping that cooler air moving across the eastern and central portions of the United States. We've got a little bit of some troughing building back over here in the west, not anything too significant, but I want you guys to watch up here into Canada, because as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, that cold air is finally going to make its approach down here out of Canada. We're also going to be watching for the threat for maybe even a hurricane potentially making landfall. The GFS suggests that down here as we get towards Thursday and Friday, and that actually might play some roll into severe weather into next week, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But a huge trough, guys. Once again, 20 to 25 degree below average temperatures across portions of Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, the Ohio River Valley, the Great Lakes, and Northeast. It's going to be cooler and a lot more different in terms of what we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks if you were in those areas across that region going through this weekend here. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday look to be kind of those colder days, and eventually that system will move its way northeast and out of here. But I want you guys to also pay attention to something as well, not just the cold air. It'll be nice and fall-like as we go through this week here, but look at this little tropical system. If this thing can actually, if it actually does move through Baja California and makes a landfall and then moves up and gets caught up in our monsoonal trough, we may actually see this turn into a shortwave trough and actually get some severe weather towards the weekend into Saturday and Sunday across portions of Texas and New Mexico. This actually, the GFS wants to develop this into a negatively tilted trough, which can actually give us some type of low and severe weather threat and maybe even some flooding as we go towards the end of the weekend here. And eventually, guys, I want you guys to see this as well. We've been talking about When is that severe weather return officially going to happen? We may see that as soon as this weekend, or if not by early next week, as we start to see more favorable troughing moving in here, and eventually we start to see some more significant troughing toward the end of the GFS run here, potentially showing maybe even a potent severe weather event going toward the second and third week. But that's ways and ways out. More than likely that's going to change. Just want to kind of give you guys the idea of what we're going to be looking as we go into the month here as well. So I want to show you one other thing here, those temperature anomalies here as well. You can see that big old blast of cold air. It's been pushed and pushed more further to the north with each model run, with each day that goes by. We're still going to see below average temperatures back down here into the southeast, but that colder air is going to be confined to the northern and central Ohio River Valley, the Midwest there, and into the Great Lakes as we go towards Thursday and Friday. May even see some snowflakes fly up towards northern Wisconsin, potentially with that cold air being aloft up there. We'll get a second little push of cold air on Friday and Saturday, and then that system moves its way out, and then we eventually will see an above average return with warmer temperatures on the way as we go toward next week. And then eventually maybe even those 80s and 90s returning next week. So enjoy the cold air right now, because next week it's going to change again, and we're going to see a flip-flop with above average temps on the east and cooler temps on the west. And typically when we get that as happen, we do in fact get severe weather. So there probably will be some severe weather ramping up as we go towards next week. So I'll keep you guys updated with the latest on that. We'll have a live stream here in just a little bit. Be safe, guys. Be weather aware, and we'll see you guys in the next one.